Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of the Alice podcast. Today I am here with Claire. She is my executive assistant on Team Alice. So I just wanted to introduce herself a little bit and let you guys get to know her. So
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm working from the team Atlas since fall 2020.
it's
Mm,
been almost 3 years now. Eh?
Yeah, it's been 3 years. Time flew so fast. I started to work with the team Atlas as your, not for you, but I was the previous assistant posing coach for our previous exclusive posing coach. And with time, he asked me to step in to do some more things for you, for the check-in, to motivate the athletes and to work on the inquiries. So it's been, 3 years.
Yeah, so you initially started as you were an assistant posing
Yeah,
coach. And then I saw how organized she was and how detail oriented she was and how much the athletes loved her. So I
yeah,
asked her if she had a little bit more time to do a couple more jobs for me. And that kind of escalated. Now she's doing a lot for me. So
yeah. So many things.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm do the check-in for you. I answer basic question. Sometimes I cannot know what you will answer to the athlete, but
So explain what you mean by you answer basic questions. So Claire is in every check-in group chat with me. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So basically, I any general question like, okay, can I eat this? I don't feel this good. They need motivation. Athlete needs answer fast to their question because our policies is to answer the question in the questionnaire in the check-in. Sorry, in 24 hours. So basically, I'm there to answer any question that I can answer. So it relieves you some pressure to do some other things and to work on some other things while you have a look at their check-in. And I send them documents. What else?
Yeah,
The
so
renewal.
basically we've talked about this on previous podcasts before and people ask, how do you deal with so many athletes? And the way I found I've been doing this even before Claire, I had Jennifer Dory helping me do this, but basically Claire is in the group chat with me with and the athlete that I'm coaching, and she'll send them documents I need her to send. She'll answer simple questions. So let's say like an athlete asks, "Hey, can I swap chicken for this?" or something like that, or
Yeah.
"Hey, how do I get my competition suit? How do I do this?" Like just simple questions, or "I have my period. Can I do this?" Just
Yeah.
basic
Basic
things
stuff.
that I've taught her throughout the 3 years that she's been working with me that are just general questions that athletes constantly ask. So by having someone do this for me, I can focus on the coaching part and actually fixing their diet, their training, their posing,
Yeah.
instead of just answering all the tedious questions that Claire can just simply ask me. Or she also sends what she does also is she will get into it, but like for documents, she'll send all the peak week protocols and then I'll go over it with the athlete or adjust it closer to the show. Our shoot document that we send them. So it's basically just like a teamwork and she's relieving me from tedious tasks so I can focus on just the coaching part. And
Yeah.
that allows me to coach 2 times as many athletes as I would if I didn't have her on my team. And it's a huge help. And I really suggest that everyone have this if you're a coach and you're trying to have a pretty large volume. And
Yeah.
I mean, because that takes a lot of time and effort.
We have now,
Mm.
well, since last year, since I start to work with you a little bit more on the check-ins and stuff, we have at least 60 or 75, approximately
More
75
athletes
more athletes
at this time than last
at
year.
this time. Yeah. So I can, and I see the difference in the way you answer the check-ins after. You have more time. You're a little bit more detail and stuff because you're not rushed to do some other things and
Exactly.
do that also. So it's a great impact on the team, and the athlete really appreciates it because they're like, "Okay, thank you, Claire, so much for answering my question so fast,
Yeah.
etc.,
So
etc."
Claire's on top of it. And if an athlete has like an emergency situation or they don't understand something, like instead of me having to immediately check, obviously
Yeah,
if it's an emergency or whatever, I'll check. But I'm saying if it's like a question that they really need to answer to, hey, I just got my diet and I'm not sure if I should eat this in meal one, Claire's gonna answer within like
yeah,
probably like an hour.
yeah,
The athlete always feels like they're taken care of and there's always someone there for them. And I'm not just, let's say like I have a show on whatever, I'm traveling Friday, Saturday, and I have a show and I'm coaching ESA or I'm coaching 20 girls at a show. And obviously, I need 24 hours to answer a check-in, which is
yeah,
rare, but sometimes what happens.
yeah,
Claire is going to be there and she's going to be answering them, which is a huge help. And not only does it save me a ton of time, but it makes the athlete feel
yeah.
like they're taken care of and
Of
they
course.
are, because Claire really is the nicest. Before we get into this,
Thank you.
Claire is the best employee ever. I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Victoria. I'm sorry, Hannah. I'm sorry, everyone. Claire is the best.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
the reason I hire to do all these things is because I can tell. When she was initially our assistant posing coach, I could just see how organized she was, and she just goes out of her way to just be so meticulous and efficient with every detail. And just, for example, she does also her coaching inquiries, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I had her start doing this is because she's so good at customer service. Claire is A1 at customer service. Fantastic. Claire's a person you can't dislike. It's impossible to dislike Claire. She's so
Yeah.
sweet. She's so nice. She's so never talks bad about anyone. Never just such a good person with a good heart. When you want someone like that on the front lines of your business, interacting with your clients, right? And that's something I learned being an entrepreneur for so long is you need someone on the front lines. And when the client initially inquires to join your team or wants to buy something from your business, their first interaction is good with someone who really cares,
Yeah.
right? And it's super important because the client, they're going to be like, wow, this first interaction was good. They answered all my questions. And so,
It's the first step for them to like the company, the product, or whatever the service that you're selling. So in this case, the first person that they interact with. So I need
exactly.
my service need to be like top notch for them to subscribe or to ask for more information or to ask for a consultation with you, etc.
So with the inquiries, what we do is a client will fill out like an inquiry form. And then we give them the option to either get a response back from email or WhatsApp. Usually the response is within like 1 to 5 hours, maybe a day, but I mean, Claire's on top of it.
No, no, five
Yeah.
hours
Yeah, max.
max.
Even when she's on vacation. And then if they want a consultation with me specifically, Claire will direct them to me. They'll send me a text message and then we'll have a phone call to go over specific questions they have, or if they have a specific show in mind. And yeah, Claire knows 95% of everything of all the information that they would need to know. But if they really want to speak to me, then it's no problem. We
Yeah.
direct them.
Of course, so sometimes we have specific inquiries. For example, I'm 8 weeks out and I would like to compete like in a national show and I would like to switch coach and I want to know what James thinks
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
So
their physique or
yeah, so I refer them to James so he could answer them.
so she refers them to me and then they'll send me their current pictures and their poses and then their previous stage photos and then give me their full name and just basically tell me what they need.
Yeah.
And then we'll schedule a phone consultation probably that day or the next day at the latest so that we can get things moving. We don't want clients to wait. Hey, you got to wait a week to join a team. People are
No.
in a rush.
Yeah. I mean, when someone is inquiring at 11 p.m., they want it like fast. You cannot wait 2 to 3 days to have an answer. They need like the answer right away because they want to subscribe right away.
If it takes that long for someone to get back to you to join a team, that's right away. You're going to know how long the check-ins are going to take
Yeah,
to be answered. That's not a good sign. So
that's true.
I make sure that all parts of my business are very efficient. And I found that Claire being on the front lines, talking to the clients first is the best route. And I see that in our sales. Our sales are much higher than previous people that were doing that, not because they were bad, but just Claire is better at it. And she's better than me at it too, by far. I have my
Mhm.
strengths. I have my
Yeah,
weaknesses. Claire doesn't have any weaknesses, but this is
that's
whatever.
true.
I mean, what's your
Yeah,
weakness?
my English.
You're in okay, great. Yeah. No, but yeah, so I want really Claire being with the customers, talking to the customers on the front lines, and then also in the
Yeah.
check-ins too, right? Because having someone like Claire in the check-ins is it's a big help for me and the clients love it too.
Oh, it's a good thing because we have a lot of inquiries from French people. So for me, that French is my first language. I can answer to them, give them like all the information. And it's same thing for the check-in. I can really answer them in French. Sometimes they feel more comfortable.
Hmm.
If they don't understand much the English, they ask the question in French. So soon I'm gonna need to learn Spanish and some other
Yeah, please.
some other languages.
She also does all the payment processing. So she'll process all the payments from the clients and then she'll send like the initial email and send the like initial
Yeah.
programs per my recommendation. So she just gets all the documents out, gets them to sign the contract, just the whole startup portion, she sets it up. So then I can get ready to coaching the client right away. There's not like a delay. And that's super, super important.
In 24 hours from the moment you contact us, if all the back and forth and email and everything, in 24 hours, approx, you could have like your diet and be ready to start.
Yeah.
That's how fast that we.
It's going to depend on the client.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
we're very
exactly.
fast.
Yeah, it all depends on the client.
Yeah.
But in the ideal thing is in 24 hours, so it's good.
So Claire, what are the most popular questions you get asked during inquiries?
I receive a lot of questions about last minute inquiries for shows. That's one of the most that I've received. And the thing is, how do you respond? What's your process to say yes or no? I'm going to take you for a show.
So first, I I really don't like coaching athletes last minute because, first of all, it's so much extra work for me, right?
Yeah.
So let's say an athlete's doing a show in 4 weeks. We gotta get them all the documents, right? I gotta learn their body. We gotta fix all their. No one's ever joined my team and had like perfect posing. It doesn't exist. I have to fix all their
No.
posing. We gotta do. There's so many small details we need to fix in a short period of time to get them on stage looking good. And usually the people that want to do the shows, I would say probably 80 to 85% of people that want to do a show within 8 weeks that inquire aren't ready for that show. I literally over
Yeah.
80%. So that either the body fat's too high, or their posing is way off, or they're too lean, or their symmetry is way off. Like I can't even think of the last athlete that wanted to join the team within the 6 week prep that would be ready. I don't know.
No.
We get them every day though. Every day
Yeah,
we have
every day
people
we
that
have.
like, hey, I have a show in 5 weeks. Can I join your team? And I'm like sending pictures. I'm like, not over 85% of the time, it's we should do an off season because you're not ready. And it's not that I understand sometimes like you have a coach and you get closer to the show and maybe you feel like you're not followed and you feel like you want to change. But to me, I feel like you should really be with a coach throughout the entire process and just do an off season together and stuff too. And I know everyone wants to compete quickly and get on stage quickly, but I mean, I don't put athletes on stage that are not ready.
Yeah,
And when I get these inquiries and they want a really short prep and stuff too, it's just, I'm not putting you on stage with my name if I know you're not going to be ready. And
for sure.
if you want to rush and do that show, I say, problem, go do it. Come back to me after and we'll start off season together.
Yeah,
I'm not going
exactly.
to take the client's money if I know they're not going to be ready and put them on stage. It doesn't serve me any purpose. It doesn't serve the client any purpose. So I would say probably 70% of the time they say, okay, yeah, you're right. Maybe even more. And then sometimes
Yeah.
we just had a girl that just joined. She wanted to do a show in end of October. And I said, you're super small. You're not lean enough. There's no benefit to doing the show strategically because she said her goal was to turn pro. And I was like, take the year off with me. Let's do this
Yeah.
together. And then let's compete in May and then maybe do Universe or whatever. And she went back and forth. She's like, I really want to do the show. I said, no problem. So do the show. Come back to me 1 week after, whatever. We'll give a reverse diet and start the off season. I don't want to
Yeah.
put all this energy into athletes when I know they're not going to be ready and not competitive. Like I can tell if they're going to be competitive or not. And when I know they're not going to, I don't want to just it's a waste of time, honestly, for me and for the
Yeah,
athlete. I
exactly.
don't
For
wanna.
you and for them
Yeah.
and money-wise also. When I ask you to coach them very quickly in a short period of time and you give them all the information, yes, no, yes,
Mhm.
we should not do the show, you should go on off season. If they listen to you, it's great because they're kind of saving money because and in time because
Mhm.
they're not wasting money on the show, the registration and whatever it needs to be done for that show and for you so you could put your energy on them to build more a
Yeah,
nicer
but sometimes people
physique.
are just set on doing a show no matter what. "Well, my family's coming, I wanna do it." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "You know what?
Well,
That's okay for you, but for me, it's just to try to cram all that information in a 4 to 6 week
yeah.
period, and then usually our check-ins in the off season are gonna be between every 7 to 10 days, and 12 weeks out, it's every 7, and then lower, it's gonna be every 3 days, and every 2, then every 1. So typically, if an athlete joins in the off season, we do the proper off season, we do the prep. But if someone joins 4 weeks out, I mean, I'm going to be doing check-ins with them probably every 2 days to the show.
Yeah.
So that's so much more effort for me for them to not even be
Ready for
ready.
the
It's
show.
like, what's the point for me and for them? So
Yeah.
I don't like to waste my time. I'm very efficient in what I do, and I like to use my time effectively, right? So if I know an athlete's not going to be ready and they want to do a show now, I mean, and even if they're like, I'm going to join another team because they can take me, go ahead. I don't do this for money. I do this because I love it. And the second I start putting athletes on stage for money, even though I know they're not going to be good, that's when I'm not going
Mm.
to want to do this anymore. So I don't do that.
Would you say that you're more selective now with the athlete that sign in compared to when you started?
I would say yes and no. So maybe my first couple of years, if I had an athlete that really wanted to do a show early,
Yeah.
I would maybe just take them and be like, let's hope for the best. But now yeah, I am selective. And as far as selectiveness, it's not, do they have good genetics? It's if they're willing to listen, they're coachable,
Yeah.
and they want to work hard. So
Yeah.
if an athlete has terrible genetics, but they can afford coaching and they want to do a show to be the best version of themselves, I'll take them. It's no problem as long as they'll listen to me. I've had athletes where they have amazing genetics, just gifted physically, but they're not coachable and stuff too, and I'll just kick them off my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Uh,
past couple, I don't like kicking people off my team. I really do not, and it's very rare. But this last, I think,
um,
3 4 months, I've
yeah.
done it maybe three girls where they're
Yeah.
just like, don't listen to anything. I mean, very argumentative, I mean, when I wanted to do a show in 2 weeks, and I'm just like, it's just, it takes a lot. And it's not necessarily kicking off the team. It's just being like, basically, listen, I don't think we're a good match. And I think that you'd be better off just
Yeah.
hiring another coach. And I'll literally just give them a refund. I don't want drama. But it's
Yeah.
just, if I know that we're not going to be a good match, which is rare, I would say under 0.5%. So like under half a percentage of the time. So maybe 1 out of 200 girls, I'll be like, listen, this is not working for me. It's obviously not working for you. And I'd rather not waste my time. And when it's someone that's just, I've done this with Olympians too, where it's just, this is not worth my energy and stress level because of just,
Yeah.
it's usually the personality of the athlete and they're just either very unreliable or just, I mean, check in once every 3 weeks and then,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot, right?
The lies sometimes
Oh yeah.
and all the
Oh man, don't even.
don't get me started,
Yeah,
right?
we can get this started if you want. I mean, one of the craziest things, I'll say like a crazy thing, obviously no names stuff too, but we had an athlete in April and she was editing her check-in photos to
Yeah.
us.
Oh, wow.
And
That
I
one.
called her once and I called her, I was like, listen, you can't be doing this. This makes no sense. She's like, yeah, but I send you the pictures of how I want my body to look like. And I was just like, if you ever do this again, we're not working together. And I checked and I looked just because of her personality and I could tell that something was off and just like the character of this
Mhm.
person. So then I looked back at all the check-ins and all the check-ins she sent me from the start were edited.
But you were really good because when you figured it out, I looked at the pictures, and I was like, it was like some little detail that you can realize, okay, this picture has been edited
We
because
have
you
to
could,
really look.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you couldn't tell just like that. So you really had the height and
Yeah,
you
I really
pinpoint
examine
it.
all the pictures my clients send me. Like I'll really zoom in, make sure like
Yeah.
just everything. And this one I caught her and I was just like, if you ever do this again, we're not gonna work together. And she literally did it again 2 weeks later. So I was like, listen, it's not gonna work. And
Mhm.
then she did a show with some other coach, I guess, and she came like last place and then posted pictures on her Instagram and they were all edited from
Yeah.
stage photos. And I was like, you know what? This is
Yeah. Well,
so,
so many things. And I mean, in 3 years, maybe like you said,
couple times this
couple of
happened.
times. So it's not a lot. Sometimes like maybe
Rare.
3, 4 athletes in the last 3 years.
I've
So it's
definitely been
very rare.
declining more people recently, I feel, because I'm really just going for quality. And when I could tell someone's personality is not going to match with mine, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to waste my time. For example, there was Reddit, there was uh, a thread on there, and someone said, is this reasonable to ask a team or a coach to send me like a basic program so I can see how they work? And they
Yeah.
wanted like a basic diet and training. And
Yeah.
everyone was like, no, that's ridiculous. If an athlete asked me, hey, can you send me like a diet and a training so I can see how you work? I'd be like, we're not going to work
No.
together. And then I was actually talking to another top coach in the industry 2 days ago. And he's like, hey, I'm sending you an athlete. I don't want to take this girl on my team. And I was like, if you don't want to take her, I probably don't want to take her because she had
Yeah,
really good genetics.
obviously.
She had good genetics. And I was like, what did she do? We were doing an inquiry and she asked me what my vision is as a coach for this year and for next year. And
Whoa.
I'm not doing a job interview. Like
Yeah.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he mentioned here, let me find this message, but it was
Wow.
important because you can really just tell people's character based on usually your initial conversation with them. He goes, she asked me this question and I don't apply for jobs. I have too much pride for it. She goes, do you have any goals as a bikini coach for the next years? What drives you as a coach? And then
Okay.
he goes, it's an easy pro card, but you can tell right away the athlete has an ego and that it's not going to end well. They're interviewing world level coaches to see if the coach is good enough for them versus the average person who thinks they'd be honored to be accepted by the coach. A big ego will always second guess you, be self-centered, and you'll never show them enough attention. And it's
For
true.
sure.
An athlete that asks that question right off the way, like they're trying to like interview to work for them. I mean, you can tell right away that the athlete's going to be very, very difficult to coach, and that they're going to want. They're never going to give you the reins of their full
Yeah.
prep. They're
I
going to
mean,
be
it's okay for them to ask question to understand sometimes your protocol, your decision, or
yeah.
why
So
they so but there's a difference between asking question and try to take control of your own prep. I mean, you're hiring a coach. Well,
look, I think asking questions in the inquiry, like, hey, did you do a macro or diet approach? What do you
yeah.
think of my physique? This like all kind of basic questions. But the second it turns into an interview, I'm interviewing 5 coaches and I'm seeing which one is good enough for me. It's you know
Yeah, you're
what?
shopping.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not even shopping, which is you can go see different personalities and see
Yeah.
like which one suits you. But like a question like that is just what he said, I was like, you're exactly dead on. That's exactly the type of athlete that they would be. And they would want to control their diet. They would second guess you. They
Yeah.
would think that you're doing things wrong. They would think that you can tell right away off just a simple question how the athlete's personality is,
Yeah.
and you're going to be dead on 95% of the time.
Yeah. It's the situation that on peak week, they'll be like eating whatever it's not on their plan because they feel like their body works better this way and not listening to you.
Yeah,
And
we
it's
had
gonna be
another
like vicious circle of
girl on my team. She was 2 weeks out from a show, and she was very argumentative with me. Also, as I
yeah,
need to peak, I need the carbs, I need this. I'm like, listen, you've never really been stage lean before, and you've never really been full. And you're not pro, right? She always comes like top like 6 or 8 in like pro qualifiers, and I'm like, you pay me to be your coach, let me coach you, right?
yeah,
And we're 2 weeks out, and she's like, James, I'm depleted, I'm flat, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you still need to lose body fat on your lower half. And I've already done a couple carbs with her, and it didn't help her body fat levels. Her weight went up. So she's like, please just trust me. I know my body. And the worst thing is when an amateur says, I know my body. That's
yeah,
just okay.
yeah,
Is and then you look at their stage pictures and they never know their body.
yeah.
But anyways, she's like, I need a carb up. I need this. I'm like, and she's arguing with me for literally an hour while I'm at a show. I was at the Natural Pro Qualifier. She's arguing with me on text message for an hour. I'm like, you know what? Fine. Do a carb up. I said, what do you want to eat for your carb up? She goes, I want rice, oatmeal, whatever. I'm like, you know what? Have your rice and oatmeal. Be specific on how much you're having, and then send me a check-in tomorrow. Sends me a check-in next day. Goes, oh, I feel like I look much better. Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. And she's like, just to be honest with you, I've been carbing up the entire week, and for the last 5 days, I've been having oats and rice, and this is why I'm looking better. And I'm like, we're not working together anymore because
Mhm.
you literally just argue with me for an hour saying that you need a carb because you're flat. And then you tell me after you send the check in the following day that you've been doing this for the past week. And then I'm wondering in my head why she's not leaning down, why her weight's not dropping, why her physique isn't progressing. And she's doing her own diet behind
Yeah,
my back 2 weeks out from the show. And I'm like, listen, I mean, we're not going to work together anymore because you breached my trust for you, and I'm never going to really trust you again. And it's not that it's different if an Olympian does it, but it's just like you're an amateur and you never turned pro before,
yeah,
right? And you never really played super high in pro qualifiers. Why don't you let the coach who makes
yeah,
the most pro cards in the world guide you? Like, why do you need a coach if you know what you're doing your body best? You
yeah,
don't.
exactly. They
And
pay
then
you for that.
she did North Americans. She just came end of the first call out, like eighth or ninth or something, whatever.
Yeah,
And then we had the same thing with I had to remove her from my team. And then she messaged me back 2 days later and she, you know what, James, you're 100% right. I really apologize and I should have never done that. And she realized what she did. But then, I mean, at that point, it's just there's a breach of trust, and I'm not gonna.
you never know.
I don't like to do. So she was checking with me every day, right? And then every day, I'm like in my head, I'm trying to figure out a puzzle of like, why is your body not responding? What am I doing wrong? What can we fix? And then on the back end, I don't know because she's doing these things and not telling me, right? And that I don't deal with. I don't care if you're
Yeah,
an Olympian. We need communication. And if you're doing things and lying to me as a coach, we're not work together.
no, it's not gonna go anywhere.
I don't care if you're Miss Olympia. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we had another athlete last year and same thing. I know my body. I'm going to carb up, blah, 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 blah. And then we did North Americans. She came, what, 6 or 7 or something. I don't know. And then did 2 shows. Then she did compete alone this year, last place. And then just the North Americans came last call out in Open and Masters. And it's just like these people that know their body
yeah,
as amateurs, they never really turn pro.
it's
And
very rare.
the ego really just hurts them as an athlete because they don't want to give anyone the reins. And someone who just knows their own body is never going to get in their condition. They're not going to have the really good posing because they think that they're just perfect as.
At a certain point, yes, you understand your body, but you never turn pro, so you don't really know how far your body could react to a certain protocol. And I don't know, maybe at a certain point, you don't really see yourself, right? So we have so many athletes, oh, I'm 9 weeks out and I feel fat, and you're like, you're almost ready. So they don't really see themselves properly. So how can you really tell that your own body and you,
Even Olympians, they feel that way too. I
yeah,
spoke about it in my last podcast. Is like even like a couple of Olympians think they're fat, but
yeah,
that's not the athletes. It's mostly the ones that are like, I know my body. I need more carbs. I'm flat.
yeah,
Like it's like you're an amateur. Yes, you know your body. You know how you feel, but you don't know how to make yourself look best because you've never looked r-
the best.
reasonable on stage
Yeah,
before. Really, you
yeah,
never had a broad pro physique. So what do you really know about your body?
yeah,
Do you know how to bring yourself to a pro physique? No, because you've never done it before, right? So
yeah.
yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons why I would not want to stop coaching someone, but it's very rare. I mean, maybe twice a year,
No, not so
whatever.
much. Not so
Yeah.
much. all our athletes are fantastic.
I love my athletes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so great.
And so what other questions do people typically ask you?
Wow. Okay, I have so many. I'll just put a few. Um, okay, I have one here. Okay, from first time competitor or amateur, should I start the prep first and then I pick a show, or I pick a show and after that I sign up for Team Atlas?
What would you typically tell them? Pop
Typically,
quiz.
pub quiz. I will ask them first to send me picture of their physique, to look at their genetics and their potential in the team. And most of the time, I will tell them to sign up with us, and we will work together on finding a show for them.
But if they ask you, so the question was, are you going to find them a show or is it the lifestyle thing? You're
No,
saying,
it's a for contest prep,
oh
but
yeah,
you
so they want to
usually,
find a show. So
yeah, usually you prefer to book a show with them.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you prefer to do that than them. Sometimes they want to do a show, and you're like, okay, let's do it because they are ready, or they
mhm.
might be ready for the show. But most of the time, you like to work with them a little bit longer, like at least 6 months, to see how they can improve.
Yeah. So if it's an amateur and I give them like,
Yeah,
usually their goal is to turn pro. So I'll build like this strategic plan
yeah,
for what shows they should do and be like, we're going to do a regional show, let's say in the middle of June, and then do universe the first week of July,
yeah,
depending on their age, etc. Typically, we'll do that. And then to select a show, I mean, we usually do it together,
yeah,
or they can just pick a regional show where they live in the
exactly.
time frame that I give them, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for all the inquiries of ladies that they want to know if they have to pick a show before you
No,
sign
you
up,
don't.
not really. We will work together. And you often like to select shows that you could be there also,
Yeah.
if
So
it's
if there's like
possible.
two different shows on the same day, I'm like, I know I'm going to be at one. Well,
Yeah.
I'd rather you come to the show that I'm at if it's close to you so that I can peek you in person. And sometimes athletes want to do like shows that are very unstrategic. For example, that girl that wanted to compete at the end of October. And I'm like, you're going to waste another, whatever, we were like a couple weeks ago or something. You're going to waste another like 6, 7 weeks dieting down when you
Yeah.
already have no muscle. Instead of you can use that 6, 7 weeks, go into off season and grow. Or like people that want to do like a pro qualifier at the end of the year, like a master's, like the one in November,
Yeah.
where it's like there's only one pro card per overall. I'm like, that's not strategic at all. You should do the ones like in July and August and first week of September. So you have like three pro qualifier shows in like a 6 week span
Yeah.
versus one in the middle of the winter that's completely away. And you want to try to get the most out of every prep. And
Yeah.
you want to have a coach that strategizes your preps for you and your show selection so that you can get the most out of your preps. You don't want to do prep for one show,
Wait 6 months and do
wait six
another
months and do
show.
another one. You're not going to really have a good experience. And at least you can have a big off season and then do like a couple shows like in a small time period, and then you can go into off season again. That's
Yeah.
the best. You don't want to be doing shows 4 or 5 months apart every time. You're never going to progress.
And at one point you might also lose sight of your goal if there's 6 months between the shows.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough to be like go up and down.
Yeah.
You never have time for a break.
No, and you cannot really improve in your off season because okay, you're gonna stop for 6 months, wait for 6 months, you're gonna improve certain part, but after that you need to prep
You're going to be in
again.
prep.
So your off season is not really been efficient or beneficial for
Yeah,
your
you're not going to really
progress.
gain any muscle. And the thing is, it's very easy to keep a girl stage lean once they're lean. For let's say 4 to 6 weeks after that, it's like kind of their body going to get
Yeah,
tired. So better to just get that competing done in a short time period instead of doing shows every 3, 4 months. It makes no
yeah,
sense. And you're going
yeah,
to always look the same. So
exactly. So especially if you need to improve certain things, you need to go on a good off season. Which talking about off season for you, what's the ideal off season? How long should be your off season for an athlete?
it depends. I mean, if an athlete wants to turn pro and they have a really good pro physique, I'm like, let's do the show now. So this is so rare, but actually, it's happened a couple times this year. I had a girl, Tanya, she was prepping for the
Yeah,
North Americans. And 2 weeks out, I'm like, she lived in New York already. I'm like, can you do the universe in 2 weeks? And
yeah,
she's like, I guess. Am I gonna be ready? I'm like, you're gonna be ready. Let's do it in 2 weeks.
yeah,
So we changed it. We literally, her 10 week prep went to 2 week prep.
yeah,
We dropped down to 2 weeks and she did a show and turned pro.
yeah,
So like just strategically as a coach, like that's a pat on my back because I realized where she was in prep and I realized that she was ready way ahead of time and that we can do
yeah.
the show. Another girl, Luba now, she just joined 2, 3 weeks ago and she's supposed to do a show in November.
Mm,
And she lives close and I'm like, if we gun this right now, we can get you ready in 2 weeks
yeah,
and put you on stage. And she's going to do a show next week and do really well.
yeah.
I mean, that happens sometimes, but
Doesn't
as
bother me. Yeah,
far as like how long people need for an off season, usually 6 months or a year at least. If they have like really minimal amount of muscle mass, like a year, sometimes
Yeah,
maybe two if you really, but yeah, it just depends on the longer the better, because that's going to give it the more time you have, the better you're going to look if you're doing it properly with a coach, right? So
for sure.
if an athlete's with me for 2 years and they do a 2 year, let's say off season,
Mm,
let's just say whatever, they're small, they're going to look a lot better doing it with me than doing it on their own because they're going to be guided properly. So
yeah, 100%. And that leads to another question that I receive often in the inquiries. Should I do my off season in the lifestyle approach or should I do it in the contest prep approach?
always, if you're planning to do a show, you should do it contest prep
Yeah.
approach, unless you're like complete beginner, you don't know how to train, you don't know how to lift weights, you
Yeah.
don't know how to diet, you don't know how to do anything, maybe start lifestyle. But if you already know the basics and you
Yeah.
want to eventually compete, I would definitely just go the competition route and don't bother with going lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you're not looking to compete for any reason, then I would just go lifestyle for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if your goal is to compete, there's so many things that we need to work on the off season. Like for example, you need to work on your posing, you need to work on your stretching, we need to make sure that your vacuum and the way you breathe, your cores are tight. There's so many things. Your X frame, you need to have proper workout plan made for building the glutes. And not I'm saying that in the lifestyle, it's not the goal, but
But it's just a different, you don't want
different.
like a kind of the bikini, like X-frame type thing. You're not
Yeah.
going to really learn posing. You're not going to learn
Yeah.
really a certain flexibility, a certain stretching protocols for
Yeah.
There's a lot of
It's
intricate
different.
details that comes with prep that you're not going
Yeah.
to get in the lifestyle, because
Exactly.
lifestyle is not focused on going on stage. Prep is
Exactly.
focused on going on stage and building that type of physique. And you can still do lifestyle if you want to not step on stage and have a bikini look,
Yeah.
but you're not going to learn the posing and all of those things that would come with contest prep. So
Yeah. And it's gonna be different too. You mean you do lifestyle, because you want the bikini look, you'll never go. I don't think you never go that lean as
yeah,
bikini to step
glute
on stage.
tie-ins and stuff. And
Yeah,
yeah, so
it's
it's
gonna be
different.
different because the goal in the lifestyle is to have healthy habit that you're gonna be able to keep all year long and make sure that your progress, you can maintain your progress
You
and
can do like
stuff.
a photo shoot and stuff too with a lifestyle program. That's
Yeah,
fine. But I
but you're
that
never gonna be that lean.
if there's some girls that are like ectomorphs that can get shredded,
Yeah,
and like
for sure. Yeah,
the
that's true.
genetically. But I'm saying like the whole. I think if you want it for sure, if you want to do a prep, do the contest prep
Yeah,
packages that we have, not the lifestyle, because once again, you're gonna be missing out on a lot of the intricate details that we introduce to you when you're doing a
yeah.
contest
The
prep.
ebook, certain ebooks, certain documents that you do,
Mhm.
and
And during the off season too is when you want to learn the posing and
yeah,
work on your flexibility and stuff too. So you don't just do lifestyle program for off season and then do contest prep for
three
prep. It
months.
doesn't make any sense. You
Yeah,
need all the progress you're making is during your off season phase.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So, other question.
You have any more questions?
I wrote a few. I have here.
I have a few that you sent me. You want to go through them?
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Athletes with menopause and how it affects them.
Oh,
Typically, I don't have any issues with women going through menopause or dealing with any type of hormonal imbalance related to their menstrual cycle.
yeah,
As far as like birth control stuff too, I mean, it could affect you. I never tell an athlete to go off birth control because I mean, getting pregnant in prep it's happened a lot of times
yeah.
before I've seen, and it's not something you want to deal with, and
No,
it's going to stop your prep. So take your birth control, and typically you can counteract the effects of birth control that it might have with antiestrogens and PEDs,
yeah,
which typically athletes are going to take regardless. But I definitely wouldn't stop birth control just to do contest prep.
just to do contest
No.
prep, yeah. But what about in their 40s or 50s, menopause and a weight gain? So
I
how
find like typically women in their 40s and 50s like lose weight faster and look leaner because they
really?
their skin's a lot thinner. Yeah, it
Okay,
typically
it's
don't.
very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's typically a thing where it's all in your 20s, you lose weight fast. But I mean, getting clients like super shredded that are like 45, 50, usually it's easier because it's weird. Their skin is like thinner. And obviously that shouldn't affect their metabolism, but I just feel like they could just get leaner unless they're like Asian or something where they have really thick
Yeah.
skin. But yeah, I don't really feel that it affects weight loss that much,
Okay.
to be honest, especially if they're taking PDs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. How do I know Team Alice is a good fit for me? It's very simple. I always say, just ask my clients.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
So
interviewing a coach. Yes, you want to know their personality, but instead of asking the person that you want to, let me give you an example. Okay. Let's say you want to buy someone on Amazon, right? Are you going to go to the company's website and look at things that they post about themselves? Or are you going to look through the reviews
that's
and see
so
what
true.
everyone is talking about, everyone is saying about them, right? No, you're going to look
Mm,
at the 1-star reviews, you're going to look at the 5-star reviews. you're going to see what their clients are saying about their product, right?
Yeah.
So same thing for me. I post all my clients on my Instagram stories, whatever. Go message any one of them, ask them their opinion on me, how I am as a coach, how Claire is, how Victoria is, how fast our inquiries are, how detail oriented we are. Ask our clients how I am and
Yeah.
see ask 5 of them, ask 10 of them, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that's the best way. That's what I would do if I was trying to inquire to join a team, just like I do when I buy things on Amazon. I look at the reviews. I don't look at the
Yeah.
company's website and saying what they say about themselves. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's your bias, right? So obviously we can have a phone call station and we can go through it, but I feel like the most effective way is to just go to the clients of the product or the service that you're
Yeah.
trying to purchase and get feedback from them to see how they actually feel behind the scenes when everything is once you make the payment. Some people are different. Once you make the payment and you do the inquiry, then the coaches just they go fuck off and they don't really
And they
they don't
do.
care anymore. But I mean, if you really want to find out, ask the clients of the coach.
Yeah, I mean, and we have so many good reviews and so many success stories also that they can find like on Instagram or on the website
Yeah,
and
if you want to look at like
like
the results, like
the results.
you want
Yeah.
to turn pro, well, I mean, we make the most pros in the world for
Yeah.
bikini every year for the past 3 years now. So if that's your goal, obviously I'm the best at doing that. So that
Yeah.
could be a good fit for you. But as far as like how your process is gonna be during your prep, or just ask my clients,
Yeah.
ask any of them you want.
And at the same time, everyone is different. I mean, someone could have a very hard prep and be like, yeah, I did 3 hours of cardio and I was
It's
like,
so rare, but I mean,
yeah, yeah, it's
sometimes,
so
yeah.
rare. But so it's good to ask many different
But I
athletes
feel
to
like
have like,
if you're like asking like how hard was your prep, I mean, you probably shouldn't even be competing anyways, to be honest. I mean, you're not even in the right minds.
yeah,
I think
that's
ask
true.
questions like, is he responsive? Does he get back to you? How detailed is he? Does he care? What kind of just things like that. I think because then
Yeah.
you're gonna get a good feel. But if you're it's like, does he give you cheat meals? How much cardio are you doing? Let's first of all, everyone's prep is different.
Yeah.
And if that's your first thought, I mean, you probably shouldn't be competing in the
But
first
that's the
place.
it's funny that you say that because I have
I'm sure.
couple
I'm sure.
times inquiries of people like, "Is he I mean, I've heard that he's gonna give me like 900 calories diet, and I'm gonna do 3 hours of
If you
cardio."
need to be on 900 calories for a
Uh,
certain period of time and do 2 hours cardio
yeah,
to get you where you need to be, we're gonna do it. I mean, or you can go on stage not ready. And all the top coaches would agree that sometimes athletes you need to do that. You
yeah,
get them ready. And is that your concern, or you're like, I can't be? I've had some of the weirdest things where it's like some girls are like, I can't go under 80 grams of fat, and I'm just like, you're never going to get staging ever. So it just
yeah,
doesn't. It's not a real.
yeah,
Your goals don't align with reality.
that's
You
the
know.
thing,
So I
the
mean.
goal some of them, they wanna stay I wanna do a healthy prep, healthy I wanna stay healthy until the show. I think there's something very
Yeah,
kind of
we had one recently where it's like, doesn't want to take PDs, no problem, but wants to turn pro. I told her you're never going to turn pro naturally just with her genetics. Very
yeah,
thick skin, very slow ability to gain muscle mass, very hard time losing fat, right? And structurally not too great. So no problem. Then she was like, anytime she would go below 1500 calories in prep, she would be like, I feel unhealthy. I lost my period. I'm like, I want to do this prep with like over 1500 calories. I'm like, I explained to her so many times, you cannot just get tie-ins and stage lean being over a certain calorie amount just because you
yeah,
want to be that way. It's not your body's just not gonna be like, okay, I guess we're not gonna go below this and we're gonna get stage lean just because that's how you decided.
yeah,
And she's my doctor says I need to eat more. Of course your doctor says you need to eat
of
more because
course.
you're like you're in a kind of a starve. She wasn't even starving at 1500 calories, but
No.
you're in like you're in a calorie restricted state
Yeah,
and you're in a calorie deficit. So your doctor's like, you're already lean, so you should eat more. Like it doesn't go hand in
yeah,
hand. And
because
she
on the
just,
eyes of the doctor, the process that she's
and
doing
she
is
wasn't
not
even that lean
healthy,
yet,
but
really. It was like 12 weeks out look. It
yeah,
wasn't like shredded. It was still like,
yeah,
she had to lose like 12 pounds. And yeah, from the doctor's look, it's just not healthy. And she's like, how do I do this more healthy? You're already natural.
yeah,
You're on 1500 calories and you're doing like 40 minutes of cardio. I mean, I don't know what you want to do to get you staging.
yeah,
And that's actually, I think, one of a client that I said, listen, I'm just going to give you a refund because I don't want to take any more of your time and my time because there was like no budging. I don't want to go under 1500 calories. I don't want to go under 50 grams of fat. I don't want to do over like 45 minutes cardio and I don't want to take PDs. We're stuck right here
yeah,
and you don't want to get stage lean, right? In a realistic
exactly.
matter, there's no other option, literally,
Yeah,
you know?
because in for some athlete, even if you don't
I
take
know, and it was
PEDs,
all that. Plus, I
yeah,
wanted to turn pro. It
ah,
doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't.
no. I mean, if she had the genetics and everything for her, yeah,
I've had some
may
athletes never go under 1500 calories before, but she
exactly.
had all the wrong genetics
Exactly.
and plus
So
all the
it's not,
limitations, and then still wanting to have an unrealistic
yeah,
realistic goal. It's sorry, we don't live in fairy tale land.
no, for sure. I mean, even doing a show, bringing your body fat so low to do a contest show, and there's nothing healthy to bring your body fat that low. So for
Yeah,
you
and
to
for
have
her,
this,
she wasn't even close. She didn't
yeah,
have any abs visible. It was not even
exactly.
close. And so I knew there was so much more to lose that I was like, we're not even close to being there. You're going to
No.
be on much higher cardio, much lower calories. And I always think this actually goes into one other topic. Is people like want to do healthy preps, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to take PDs. It's okay, but let's say you took a stimulant or an antiestrogen or whatever, and then that allows you to only have to do 1 hour cardio versus 3 hours cardio if you're natural.
Yeah.
What's healthier? Taking a bit of PDs or doing 3 hours of cardio and running your body into the ground? And that's also going to ruin your testosterone and
Yeah.
your hormones and everything. And it's just, I mean, which one's healthier at the end of the day? I mean, I
That's a very good question.
typically, as I said before in one of the other podcasts, where it's like the girls that typically rebound and gain tons of weight are usually the natural clients. It just depends 100% on how they reverse diet, not the PDs. Obviously, you can do PDs very poorly and in a unhealthy manner, but
Yeah.
I don't think that doing prep naturally is more unhealthy than doing it with PDs. I honestly
I
don't from
don't.
experience and from the results of the clients and like all the clients that like wanted to have kids and stuff after, even though they took PDs, they all ended up getting pregnant.
Yeah.
All of them, seriously, all of them. Like that. Look at like even a lot of the past Olympian stuff too. I'm not going to say names,
Yeah.
but all in PDs, they all had kids after. And
Yeah.
if you're like already predisposed to like some genetic condition where you can't have kids, you're going to be screwed regardless of the PDs or not. But obviously, I'm not going to say PDs don't hinder that in some way or form because it could, because you're going to lose your period while
Yeah.
you might lose your period while you're on PDs. But I don't think that doing prep naturally and trying to get to that stage condition is healthier than taking a bit of PDs in a supervised manner. I
Exactly. But
don't.
you said the word supervise. So if you take PDs, a steroid whatsoever, if it's like supervised and you have a protocol that's been followed and you follow it and you don't take anything else than what your coach is telling you to do.
And you get your blood work done. And also, if you have like an
Yeah,
endocrinologist that could check your blood work, and a lot of
exactly.
clients that got taking TRT from their endocrinologist, stuff like that too. There's ways to
Exactly.
do it properly. There's ways to do it,
Yeah.
in a stupid manner. But once again, I don't think doing prep naturally is healthier than doing it with PDs if you're trying to get contest lean and be
Yeah.
competitive. I think it's probably more unhealthy to do it naturally, honestly.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just,
It doesn't make any sense.
no, that's like a crazy thing to say, but I've thought about this a lot. And I was like, the girl that say that has, that's never going to get there's some girls that can never get like tie-ins naturally and just they have very thick skin on their legs. And if you did everything it took you to get that level of condition, you would be emaciated by the end of your contest prep. You would have no more muscle, no more fat. You'd be bones and skin to get like
Yeah.
that lean, right? And you would not look good. So is that and obviously as a coach, you would never bring a client to that point. But I'm just
No,
saying,
no.
if you did everything naturally to get to
Naturally.
that stage conditioning,
Yeah.
you would be so much more unhealthy than taking PDs and getting there in an unnatural way. You're not going to have to be
Yeah.
emaciated and destroy your body. So
Yeah.
if you think that doing 3 hours of cardio a day and starving yourself is great on your hormones, even naturally, it's not. There's no healthy prep, natural or unnatural.
No.
That's why they're like, I
That-
want to do prep natural or healthy. We're going to do it as healthy as we can. But
Exactly.
I mentioned this before, like getting that stage condition is not healthy in any way. And it's not useful for your body, even from an evolutionary standpoint, right? I mean, I think you have to be over 50% body fat to even get pregnant, or like in a recommended pregnant, 50% is the lowest.
Yeah.
And on stage lean, if you're like 8% or whatever you are, there's no benefit for you to be that lean. So it's not healthy for you to be in that state regardless. You obviously want to minimize the potential risk and unhealthy
Yeah.
behavior, but a healthy prep in itself doesn't really make any sense in itself because you're doing unhealthy things.
Well,
It's
doesn't
not healthy to do
exist.
3 hours cardio. It's not healthy to
Yeah.
be on 900 calories. It's not healthy to whatever. So
Yeah. Healthy prep doesn't really exist. I mean,
mhm.
when we.
Be the healthiest. You can be the least harmful possible.
Yes.
But I mean, to
Exactly.
have a healthy prep where your hormones are not going to be a little bit out of balance and your blood work is going to be perfect through the, it just doesn't exist. You
Yeah.
can't. Unless you go on prep, unless you go on stage and you're fat. If you go on stage and you're 20% body fat, you can have a healthy prep.
Yes. But the
Yeah.
question is, what are you doing on stage?
Yeah. You want to be competitive, or and I'm not saying
Yeah.
to sacrifice your health to be competitive. I'm just saying competing is a bit of a sacrifice of health,
Yes.
and it's just in its general manner of what it is in
For the
itself.
sport, I mean, the sport that you do bodybuilding, so you're building your body to bring out its best so we can see
Aesthetically, yes.
aesthetically. So you need to be lean for the judge to judge you, to judge your
And to get
physique.
that lean, even for a man, is not healthy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you're going to kill yourself. It just means that your hormones are going to be out of whack during that time period, and you need to. It's part of the process.
It's part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next question, Claire. Healthy competitive spirit. The importance of having great synergy between our girls, especially when we
Wow.
have numerous girls competing in the same show.
It's super important. I mean, you have to be, how can I say that? We are very lucky because all our athletes, and we have like big shows with a lot of, so the North American, we have like more than 20 athletes competing. No problem. All the girls will cheering each other, and it's super important because you don't want to have a star like you mentioned in one of your previous podcasts.
Hmm.
You don't want to have that superstar that
Giving all their attention to, yeah.
exactly. It's super important that they have this energy. They can cheer for each other and support each other and be there for each other. Someone, for example, lost her jewelry, while the other guy, oh yeah, I can help you. This is super important for the team and for the image for
Going
the
on that,
team.
actually, just before we get into it more, like I had a pro do a show with Issa, and I felt like I gave Issa a little bit more of my time.
Okay.
And I talked, and the athlete that did that show, I told him, like, I have Issa at this show, and it's not really a good idea to come to the show because it was our first show together.
Okay.
And I was just like, and then the athlete like didn't even book at the host hotel. They booked at like an Airbnb, so it was like 10 minutes away. It was just like a whole thing. And I was like, in the future, if I have like top Olympian at a show,
Yeah.
I don't want anyone else at that show. I want just the top Olympian. So, like, because you guys have no idea. It's so much stress when you have the
Yeah.
entire industry looking at you for one athlete in one show. You want to put all your energy into that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So when I have, it's very rare that happens. But if I have like Issa or let's say whatever, like a top 10 Olympian,
Yeah.
then you want to just focus on all your energy on that.
Yeah.
And then everyone else can do like different shows. And it's not the athlete's worth more or worth less. It's just there's so much stress involved with this situation. You don't want to
Yeah.
bring anyone else into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I explained that to her, and she said, "Yeah," because like initially when she wanted to do the show, I was like, "If you said that show, I don't think it's a good idea." And they're like, "Oh, I'll do it anyways." And I think
Yeah.
still did good. She came like top, I think 11th, and her pro debut out of like 27 girls. But it was just like, if you booked at the host hotel, and we're doing a show where I don't have a top Olympian in it, we can work a lot better
Yeah.
together. Just you don't have to drive to my hotel and back and
Yeah.
forth to
It's
do check-ins.
easier.
It's just a nightmare. But as far as any pro show or any like amateur show, whatever, yeah, I don't give anyone extra attention than the others. I just
Yeah.
everyone's equal, and it's not really a stressful situation like coaching Issa where everyone in the industry is looking at you and how you do, and if you do bad, then you look like an idiot, and then if you do good, then you're smart. It's just like there's so much
Yeah.
pressure and stress that I don't want to be have anything outside around me during
Yeah.
that like couple day period. But any other show, like I just said, everyone's the same. We're
Yeah.
trying to win. And even though it's an individual sport, it's nice when the girls have like camaraderie and they're backstage together and they're having fun
Yeah.
and they're talking. And we have a really good group. And in the past, I could pinpoint like 3 girls since started
Yeah.
coaching that
I don't think it really happened often. I don't remember
I know
having.
you probably don't remember any
No, I
because
don't. I
but I
don't.
remember I had one girl, she was a Canadian girl, and she was just like very negative and mean to the other girls and stuff too. And I kicked her off my team after the show because I
Yeah.
was just like, you're not allowed to talk to people like that and stuff too. And then she went to like other coaches and she's literally banned from every single top team in Canada. And no one will take her because she's the same way with everyone. And
Well.
I talked to the 3 of the other top coaches in Canada. They've all coached her, all the same thing. Like a very
Okay.
big princess and just everything has to be her way. And you have to come to her room for check-ins and this. And it's just, it's a
No.
nightmare. And it's just that person's never going to turn pro. And there's also 2 other pros in a circuit that have joined almost all of our big teams, and they're very the same way. Very negative. All the other pros don't like them. It's just they're very mean,
No.
very individual, very not nice. And you don't want like a cancer in the group that's gonna bring
Yeah.
down everyone's morale, right? So if you have, let's say you have 5 girls at a show, they all worked all with you all year and they do a prep and they're at the show and I want to have fun at the show, right? And if there's one girl that's like very negative and very mean and just like you take that cancer out of your team. You don't want them
Yeah.
to affect everyone else. And this has happened probably I think 3 times in 8 years. It's very
It's
rare that
very
a girl
rare.
has like that terrible personality. But if they do and I see it, off my team right away. I don't deal with that shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's their moment too. And all the
The
athletes
athletes,
that
yeah.
compete, it's their moment too. They've been training so hard. They've been dieting, doing their cardio. They've been doing
Yeah,
their
they should
homework.
enjoy their weekend. You don't
Yes,
want to be yeah.
they have the right to enjoy their moment
Mhm.
too. And sometimes we have like maybe one, two to three athletes in the same bikini group,
Yeah.
and they're competing against each other for that
Mm.
top yeah, first place. Sometimes in their overall. I remember I wanted at the Toronto Pro. I mean, like 2 years.
Yeah, we had a winner of
We
every single. We won every single class.
y no, we have 1 class, and we didn't have a
Oh,
winner.
well, yeah, it was like 8 classes. We won 7 out of the 8.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
So we
they
had
all
7 girls in the overall out of the 8. Yeah.
yeah. So they all it was great moment because all our athletes was well, competing to get that pro card. And even for some they didn't win, obviously, because they have 1 or 2 pro card. I don't remember. They were all cheering up for the winner after. And
Was it the one that Victoria won?
yeah, I think it's the one.
Yeah, Victoria won her
Victoria
profile.
and
Yeah, Victoria and our another Asian client that
yeah,
won it after.
yeah. It was
She came from
amazing.
like Korea or something.
Yeah,
And yeah, we had 7 out of the 8 of the overalls, and we won both the pro cards,
yeah.
obviously. So
So that was a great moment, great synergy between the girls, and I
yeah,
think
I
super
never really
important.
had problems. I never really have complaints where it's like a girl's mean. It's so rare. Like I got pinpoint 3 times, 3 different athletes, and all those athletes I've talked to other coaches, and they all the same way with every other
Yeah,
coach. So it's just like a bad person,
yeah,
and they're just that way with everyone. And it's like cancer that never really get. And you just if I ever see that kicked off the team, I don't care if
yeah,
you're a pro or Olympian or whatever.
yeah.
I don't. You're not going to ruin my other clients' experience at a show.
No,
They're the priority, and I want every client to have a good time and have a good experience. And if you're not worth it to me, no matter what, if you're just not a good person on my team. And
yeah.
you know me, I don't deal with bullshit. I'm very nice, and everyone knows I'm very nice when you meet me, but I don't put up with bullshit. I don't put up with
Yeah,
like poor attitude or like talking back to or like
yeah.
being a rude person. That's like a no for me, like right
You're a
off.
very nice person,
Mhm.
but if someone doesn't respect you,
Or crosses a line
it crosses
or
the line,
yeah,
you don't sugarcoat.
no.
You go straight to the
Yeah.
point. That's good.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
thing is with you, I like you so much 'cause we're very similar. We're very logical, right?
yeah,
We're emotional, that's fine, but you're like in the past you've had to deal with other different people and they make a lot of their decisions based on emotion. And me and Claire
yeah,
are just very logical. We're like, this makes sense because of this. This doesn't make
yeah,
sense because of this. 1 plus 2 equals 3. There's no, this is the situation. How do we resolve it? It's always like logic, right? And that's
yeah,
why we got along so well because it's just, I trust your decision making and you trust my decision making. And I can always talk to Claire about something and get her feedback and she'll tell me straight up if it's reasonable or not,
yeah.
and we agree on, I don't think we've ever disagreed on anything.
No,
I don't think so. We're
no.
both, I like very logical,
Yeah,
straightforward people that are just understand the way things are. You know what I'm saying? Without
yeah,
we're like questioning. We've had like discussions where like, Is this person serious?" And you're like, "Yeah, I
yeah,
can't even believe
yeah.
this is
It's
what they're
impossible.
saying," and it's just crazy. And
Yeah,
not athletes, but other things. But it's
yeah.
just you're just like, so it's just okay. You think I remember you're like before you met me, you were like, I thought this person was. I knew something was off. I wasn't sure, and now that I reassured her, I was like, no, this is not normal. And
Yeah.
she's okay. Now I really
Okay.
understand that this is not like a normal behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but you're like so nice, and I always
Thank
say that Claire's the best employee she is. She just goes above and beyond everything, even like for inquiries. Right? I didn't ask her to do any of this stuff, but she like sends me an Excel document with all the
Yeah.
amount of inquiries we get, how many positive transactions we get through, how many are like explain your document that you
Well,
send me every month.
because it's just by curiosity, I wanted to know, okay, how many inquiries do we receive a month? How many is for lifestyle? How many is for contest prep? Just to have some feedback. Okay. So, for example, one time you did a reel for lifestyle, and that night I received at least 25
I knew it was gonna
inquiries,
happen. I
like
knew it.
25 inquiries about like for lifestyle. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I'm gonna collect some data. Okay, so if they don't sign up, what's the reason? Is it because of the price? Is it because they want to sign up later on because it's not a proper fit? I have my some reasons, and they
Conversion rate, yeah, just she
yeah,
has so then she gives me the breakdown of, like,
yeah,
per week every month, so there's
yeah,
4 weeks every month, and it's useful because we collect data, and that's how we
yeah.
build our business, and we can
But
learn.
it's good to know because, for example, if you're like, okay, we receive, for example, 10 inquiries this week. Actually, it's 10 inquiries a day, but
Yeah.
let's get 10 inquiries today, and we sign up only two. What's the reason? At
Claire's
least.
fired. I'm
So
joking.
what's the reason? What can we
Mhm.
improve in our
Talking about
services?
conversion rate is low, right?
Yeah, but just that, how can we improve our services or to have more people signing up in for the team? There's obviously there's something wrong.
Mhm.
So is it me? Is it me that's not answering properly? Am I missing
Well, it's
something?
not really just like hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
This isn't real life. Like we don't have that problem. But
No.
if it were to be a problem, we'd be like, in what part of the inquiry process are we not able to make a conversion towards a sale? Right.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
this is exactly what I'm saying. This is something that Claire did on her own initiative without me even asking because she's like an A1 excellent
Yeah.
employee. And this is the type of star you want on your team as an assistant that can just they go above and beyond what you expect them to do, and your salary now is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably happy and you can live
Yeah.
comfortably, and
Yeah.
I
Not
mean,
gonna say anything.
I want to keep her forever, no matter what company I run.
Yeah.
Like she's just like an. I wish I can have her doing every job of every company ever and clone her because it'd
Yeah.
be great, but I can't do that. So
No.
we're gonna. I remember one time I was like, "Can you do this too?" And it was like, I can't." So I'm
No,
like, "All
I
right,
can't.
fuck, Claire. I'm like, gotta hire
Oh.
someone else."
Yeah, because I mean, it's not everyone that know, but I Team Atlas is not my first job.
Mhm.
I have another job, so I have to split like my
You
time.
own a company too, right?
Yeah, I own a
So
company.
what your company is
It's
you
boutique looks. It's in the fashion industry, so it's totally different than the fitness, and it's consignment about luxury items. So I resell luxury goods for stylists. People have a lot, but they spend too much money and stuff like that. So
how many hours a day do you work for Team Atlas, do you think?
I'll say it depends of the day of the week. Approx 3 or 4 hours a day.
Mhm.
I'll
But
say
that's like
three.
full, like on like focus for 3, 4 hours a day?
Yeah, I'll say three,
Yeah.
4 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
which is good.
Yeah, that's good. One last question. What's your criteria to select a new coach?
We have a new coach that's gonna start with us and officially in the first of October 1st. And because a lot of people know, even like last year, I don't think you will ever thought that we have a new coach
Mhm.
working for Team Atlas. And this year, he decided, okay,
It's
it's
time,
time to
yeah.
grow.
Not about growing, it's just time to
Oh
anticipate the
yeah,
future because
yeah,
we're getting so many more athletes this year, and just I know in the future we will too. I just wanna be able to adapt before I'm in a position where I'm forced to adapt, right? So I wanna be preemptive, and I'm already at my, like, limits. I can't do any more, so I wanna just be able to hire a new coach to do that, and the way I
yeah,
selected that is basically I worked with her for 3 years, and I just saw
yeah,
her personality, and she's, like, a single mom of 2, and she has her own little business, and I really respect organized, efficient everyone on my team is like that.
yeah,
Efficient, organized, effective with their time, don't fuck around, don't waste their time, like, everyone's, like, A1 personality,
yeah,
and that's the type of people I only hire and get on my team, and I just learned her personality through hanging out with her, through coaching her, through seeing how she works, and I hired her for another little job, and I just monitor how she's been doing for the last 3, 4 months as I was training her to be a coach before, and I
yeah,
was like, "Yeah, I wanna hire her to do this," and
yeah,
I'm already thinking about the future, maybe 1 or 2 more, because I already asked her, I'm like, "What if you're at
yeah,
capacity? What are we gonna do? What's your plan if we're at capacity?" If you're at capacity, I don't know, I was gonna ask you, I was like, "Okay, that answers my question," is I'm gonna
yeah,
I already asked one other person, "Hey, if this person has capacity, can I
yeah,
hire you to do the next job?" So, I'm always one step ahead, so I'm not in a situation where I'm fucked.
yeah. It's you're like
Yeah, you don't wanna be in a situation where it's like you have a huge amount of clientele or something you're selling and you can't fulfill that service or
yes,
the order. And that's a if you're in that position as a business owner, you made a mistake. So you always got to stay 1 or 2 steps ahead and make sure that you're able to take it in and you're hiring the right people to manage those tasks for the future or for now.
yeah. You took the steps in the last years to have more time, good quality time to answer the check-in. And now that we have more and more athletes, you're traveling way more
Yeah.
often. You have like big weekends. We have way more check-ins, so it's
Yeah.
more.
I need to keep reducing the little tasks that I don't need to
Yeah,
do and give them to other people on my employee roster
yeah,
so I can focus on that's why I talked about the last podcast. So I can focus
yeah,
on just the check-ins and doing what I got to do for work. And once again, my reminders list is infinite. I don't stop ever, but I need to use my time. It's all about effective
yeah,
time management. I
yeah,
can't be doing tasks that I can hire someone else to do,
yeah,
but when I can just be focused on like the bulk of the skill-based labor that is requested from me when I'm hired as a coach.
yeah. So having another coach will be it's great because she'll be able to take a part of our athletes that they want to have that team atlas experience
Yes, but
name.
also I'm gonna be, like, in the group chat and looking over
Exactly.
things and
Yeah,
helping with the peak weekend, like, they're gonna have still Team Out's quality,
yeah,
but without me being their head coach. But if
exactly.
someone trained by me,
Yeah,
who I'm gonna be monitoring, and she's already been working, like, in this field for a long time, and it's not just, like, a random,
yeah.
new coach hiring every week."
Oh no.
You'll never see that. It's always someone that I trust a lot, someone that I've vetted, and someone that I've worked with and personally always coached,
Yeah.
but someone that I can trust with my life that I hire because I get asked, "Hey, how do you" I get this question actually, "Hey, can I be your next coach?" I'm like, I typically would come to them and ask them. I typically wouldn't get, like, "Oh, yeah, I guess you can coach me." Not really. I mean, you could, like, ask, so I have it in the back of my mind as,
Yeah.
like, a potential future, but it's someone that I'm gonna be very close with and someone I can trust my life. I mean, if it's not at that point yet, then I don't know.
Wow. So we have great things coming up for Team Atlas in the next year, for sure. And I can't wait to see how big the team will be in terms of inquiries and new athletes that's gonna
Well,
subscribe.
honestly, we're increasing our price October 1st, and
Yeah.
by the time this comes out, it might actually be off, but I don't want my goal is not to get more athletes, it's just keep the quality where it
Yeah.
is, and then, the athletes that can't afford a new price will go to our new coach, and
Yeah.
then we'll do that, but, yeah, my goal for Team Atlas is to keep the quality where it is, keep trying to employ as many wonderful women as
Yeah.
I can and help them out that way, and keep growing internally and just continue the quality where it is without getting too big where I don't like doing it anymore. I
Yeah.
wanna continue doing my job and enjoying being a coach,
Yeah.
and I'm still there, and I wanna keep it that way, and I know my limits, and I know where
Yeah.
but I've always had new projects and things we're working on, and right now we're updating the whole website, and it's gonna be sick,
Oh,
and I'm always doing new things, so I'm excited.
for sure.
Yeah, I never just stay come from, "Okay." Sometimes I'm like, "I wish I could just play video games and just hang around."
Really?
No, like, some days, like,
Impossible.
once every month, I'm just like, "What if I just gain 500 pounds and just play video games all day and then just live in my house?"
No.
And I'm like,
How
"Ugh."
long does that idea
For
stays
like
in you?
days would be fun, and then I'm like gonna fucking jump off a bridge.
No, not gonna work.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm happy to be in a position where I'm so busy that I don't have time to play any video games or really watch TV or do those type of things unless I really want to. I haven't played video
Mm.
games in a couple of years, whatever, but because I don't have time. But I mean, I'm glad to be in a position where I'm so busy that I don't need to burn my time doing useless
Yeah.
things. I'm not like throwing my thumbs. Okay, let me go play a game of League of Legends or whatever because I don't have anything else to do. There's always something I could be doing to be productive.
Crush candy
Candy Crush, yeah.
in your cell phone.
If I ever get to that position, then
Yeah.
it's not good. It's not good for Team
Yeah.
Atlas. So yeah. Anyways, I think this is going to sum up podcast episode 5. So
Yeah.
let us know what you guys think of this podcast. And yeah, if you have any
Yeah.
questions for Claire, you can let me know, or you could write in the comments. And if you want Claire back on, let me know and we'll definitely bring her back on. But wish I could hang out with Claire all day, but we
Yeah.
both got to get back to work.
Yeah.
Claire, I appreciate you there,
Thank you.
and you're an employer's dream. And
You're an amazing boss.
I consider you a very good friend, and I'm very appreciative of you all the time. And I hope you know that. So
Yeah.
for real.
Thank you.
For
I
that?
appreciate that. Yeah,
Okay,
and I
good.
appreciate you too.
Okay. I don't want this to get any gay or whatever, so we're gonna
No.
stop.
Okay, we're gonna stop that.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.